It turns out in the Jewish religion that you're a man after you've been bar mitzvahed. So I was like, I really got to give this up. And so I didn't do it for a year. I'm Gary Goldman. I'm here to answer the internet. All right. Would you rather have your girl be able to see or hear everything you do when she's not around? I'd rather her hear it because I at least keep it quiet. But would you rather be a pig and be able to orgasm for 30 minutes or be a lion and be able to have sex 60 times a day? Oh, I'd rather be a 30-minute orgasm.
Yeah?
Yeah, 60 times a day is how are you building society? That's why the lions are still living in caves, because they're having sex 60 times a day. And the pig ran a city. What's worse, people who run marathons or polar plunge people? I think polar plunge people are more likely to be psychotic, right? And marathon people, you got to give them credit for finishing that insane race and never walking the same again. They'll never be able to take the stairs after that day. Okay, would you rather be half your height or double your weight? Oh my gosh, I'd rather be half my height. I think that would be healthier and easier.
You would be a normal person.
Yeah, and easier to
for you.
Yeah, I'd be able to fly coach. So, yeah, it would save me a lot of money. Is flossing it in public acceptable? No, never. I think flossing should have the same type of privacy that a deuce has. That you should go into the bathroom. You should lock the door and then you should squeegee the mirror afterwards.
I think cutting your fingernails in public should be.
Yeah, I'm a nail biter, so
That's
why
I cut, because I had to bite
And why? Because Larry Bird used to do that on the bench. And so I was like, if Larry Bird can bite his nails on the bench, why can't? If you were murdered, who would be the most likely suspect? Wow. I mean, I it's always the wife, but I don't do anything that would make her murder me. But she has the most access to me. She's with me all day long. Whatever I did, I deserved it. Yeah. For $10,000, would you spend 2 days carrying around a human-looking Japanese robot that you had to introduce people as your girlfriend? This is a question not for a man in my Banana Republic tax bracket. I'm doing pretty well, so I don't need the $10,000 for 2 days work. So I would turn it down, but when I was coming up in comedy, I would have done this in a second and absolutely introduced her as my girlfriend. As long as it wasn't a Japanese robot in a stereotypical, this is offensive, then I don't want to do that, because you're not out living that. You'll always be the guy who walked around with something that was the Japanese equivalent of, have you ever seen the Harry Potter where the bankers are clearly Jewish stereotypes? And it's like,
I don't know how she got away with that one.
Unbelievable. Are there sacred days when you refuse to masturbate? I would say that funerals, tragedies. I once went, and this is a feat, all of eighth grade, because, or maybe it was 7, whatever it was, after I'd been bar mitzvahed. It turns out in the Jewish religion that you're a man after you've been bar mitzvahed. So I was like, I really got to give this up. And so I didn't do it for a year. And then
years. That's like
prime. But it turned out it wasn't prime. There was a time where I would even have a harder sex drive where I wasn't able to resist, and I finally gave in.
You were like 13 years old.
Yeah.
Time to grow up. Stop playing with myself.
Yeah.
This is my wife.
And the other thing was, and then when I started going in it again, I would just apologize to God profusely after I finished. It was like, I don't know what is happening. I made that promise. I've broken it because I have this
pants still around your ankles. Like,
this Old Testament relationship with God where I'm just apologizing all the time. Would you accept $1 million to be a to be deported from the U.S., you can never come back, but you get to take one person. No, $1 million is. I'm probably worth between $89,000 and $96,000 right now if you count my security deposit as an asset. That's enough. It's enough for me. I have several streaming services, and I subscribe to more magazines than I ever would have. When I was a kid, having Sports Illustrated was like the greatest thing that ever happened to me. But now I get like the New Yorker and SI and the Athletic. There's no book I yearn for. Like every time I'm like, I like this book. I read a sample. I like it. I buy it. I'm very. And my wife is not materialistic. I do not know how.
What do you think is the fanciest thing you have that you own? Is the most expensive or last?
I have a 2020 Honda Insight. That's it's a hybrid, so that's like the fanciest thing I have. But when I tell you, my wife and I are not we're not materialistic at all. Thank God. Are you an asshole if you sit in the back and don't talk to an Uber driver? If he tries to talk to you and you don't talk to him? But I mean, I love the rating system where they rate you. And so I bring them water and a kind bar, and they say where to? I say where do you want to go? Let's take some errands. Would you rather your girlfriend get a notification every time you watched porn with a description, or a notification of where you are at all times? I mean, either one. I'm an open book with my wife on this, so it doesn't really matter. And I got to tell you, I have a pretty good imagination. So I don't use a lot of. I don't use
right off the top.
Yeah, I don't use a lot of porn. I've developed enough of a Rolodex in my head of my
sick rag.
Of my yeah. So I mean, listen, I'm not against it. I'm not against it, but they can't get as specific as I can. They don't. Yeah. There's no Hebrew school confirmation party. There's in porn. There's no that TA from the sophomore year of college that it's hard to forget. So yeah, they as specific as they get, they don't know my life as well as I do.
If you're watching on YouTube, click here to subscribe so that you get all the new episodes as they come out. And John, what should they click if they want notifications? Make sure you click thumbs up for the like, hit that bell icon.